Bueno, buenas tardes. No, bueno, vamos a continuar con el seminario y vamos.
And we're going to make a quick introduction and then give the floor to Dr. Sonia. We're very, very interested in finding out what she's gonna talk to us about. This seminar is dedicated to the creativity in tourism and everything which is necessary to transform and imagine tourism destinations for the 21st centuries. We know that it is important to take into account that creativity within the sector of tourism has to give productive results. I therefore think that the disruptive thinking can help us to make this possible. We have with us Mr. José Luis Escolar. He is the producer of cinema. José Luis del Olmo, he is the director of Sol Melia. Sonia Fernandez, she has a PhD in information and quantum physics, and she has an impeccable and very extensive curriculum. And then we have Francesc Gimald. He is an enologist and the founder of Cuatro Kilos Vinícola. So we give the floor to Sonia Fernandez Vidal. First of all, I'd like to thank you for having invited me to this seminar of innovation and creativity. I'm not going to say what the future of tourism destinations is going to be, but what I'd like to do here today is to share with you some of the tools that exist in science which applied to our companies can help us to innovate and help us in this change. We have all heard that we are in a process of change, a process of crisis. And let's see, from the science world, we can give you some insights to help you out. I normally tend to spend an hour explaining my PowerPoint presentation, but I'll try to synthesize it in 20 minutes. I also like to say that I have some extra information I can give you if you want to go further into detail. First of all, is to transform our companies in labs, in research labs. If we enter a lab, we'll realize that the first characteristic in all of these people who are researching is that they constantly, day after day, questioning things. They're wondering all the time, what would happen if I do this? What would happen if I mixed this with that? Scientists and researchers, they move in fields that are completely unknown. They're used to incertitude. Questioning day to day all of the things that we do in a lab prepares us very well for changes and for crisis. And therefore, I thought it would be interesting to see how the scientific community faces changes of paradigm crisis. For that, Thomas Kuhn wrote in the theory of scientific revolutions the different steps for this purpose. First of all, the first step is the normal science. That means that the scientific community accepts certain theories as normal. And what scientists do is, based on these theories, they continue to research. Then little by little, they encounter phenomena that cannot be explained within the frame of those normal theories. That's what we call an anomaly. When there are just one or two, it's not too much. But after a while, when there are many of them, then the established paradigm sort of enters into crisis. That's the second phase. It is a phase of opportunity. It is a phase of extreme creativity. Many theories emerge that try to include the anomalies that have emerged. Many of the theories might be absurd or crazy even, but slowly, surely but slowly, one of the theories starts to gain more terrain, and then the scientific community embraces that theory, and then a change of paradigm comes in. That's another step. And within this new paradigm, we accept the anomalies that were not included in the normal science. When I look at those steps of Thomas Kuhn, and probably you're all familiar with them because there is a link with the economic situation in the world today, and it's not a coincidence. But one of the things that called my attention first is how differently scientists or economists face anomalies. You probably have seen this because it's been in all the media. A month ago in Elster in Switzerland, in the nuclear power research center, they measured that the distance of 730 kilometers that separate Ter in Switzerland and the center in Italy, they traveled this distance 60 seconds faster, 60 nanoseconds faster than the light. Now, actually, the base of the physics base, the scientist base, is that the light is what travels faster. Now, when they found this anomaly, they presented this to all of the scientific community, and everybody has focused on this during a meeting in order to throw some light on this. So, can we adapt the instruments that we have? Do we have to maybe change our perspective on how we look at the world? If we compare this to the economic world or the financial world, we see that very often when we have anomalies, we don't actually focus on them to see how we can understand them. We often hide them. It is true that in all these scientists' the research work, there is a key aspect. There are many things that are very difficult to solve, but at the moment when we encounter a solution, everything changes. It's what we call the factor X. All companies actually have sort of a bottleneck. They all look for the same clients. They have the same profitability margins. But what we need to do is to focus on that bottleneck in order to find that X factor. Because when we find it, we will have a competitive advantage between 7 and 10 times greater than the mean within our industry. I'll give you an example of Barrett Ersek. He's a North American man. He had a company that designed and looked after gardens. Every time a client asked for a plan or a budget, they took 3 weeks to actually go there, measure the garden, and offer a budget. And he was in a meeting one day, and he stood up and he said, "I have found my X factor." So what he did was to buy the satellite images of those clients who actually asked for an estimate from him. And we're talking about something that at the time there were no Google Maps yet. So Barrett Ersek was capable of reducing from 3 weeks to 3 minutes the time that he took to hand in an estimate. You can Google him. Barret Ersek has a document of the steps necessary to reach the X factor. We have found several of those steps, and we have managed to actually reduce also our steps from 2 weeks to 2 days. So his methods function. We are slowly accelerating. Have a look at this graph at the top of the slide. It shows a temporal line of the scientific and technological discoveries since the year zero. Obviously, in the last years, discoveries are being accelerating. Just yesterday, when I was about to jump in the flight to come over here to Mallorca, I was listening to a radio station, and I thought it was very funny because we probably all remember that sentence of, "Daddy, can you hang up the phone because I want to connect to internet," or "I need a pen or a sort of big pencil in order to rewind my tape." Yeah, we've all been through that. But not only the discoveries are changing, but also they are growing exponentially. The quantity of information and the access to information is also growing very rapidly. You have two other graphs of one of the example of the evolution of the fluxes of information and another one on the evolution of the users of internet. What happens here is that we as users have a faster capacity to generate an idea, criteria, or even change our opinion and share that opinion with our contacts very quickly. As a result, what we have is that the fluxes of demands and of products are changing at a very, very fast speed. About 10 years ago, the tourism sector had to reinvent itself, had to change the ways they work. Like, we've changed from the offline agencies, travel agencies, to the online travel agencies, music, cinema, shopping. Everything has been reinvented. However, now we are facing a more profound change. It is not only a change on how we do things, but also in the philosophy of work. If we look at companies, for instance, we'll see that up to now they had a business model that was, if not static, well, nearly 100% static. Now, if we want to face this rhythm of demand changes, we need to question that business model. In the company where I work, what we do is we follow the system of Alex Foster Walder. You can find him as well in the biography. We work like with post-its, something very easy to change. What happens if, and we question, what would happen if our clients change, if our suppliers change, if our products change? Often, we in the companies, we don't do this every 5 years or every year, but we do it every 6 months. And as a result, every 6 years, we have a new company, really. In order to be able to act in this way, we need to act like if we were working in a lab, in a research lab. And if we enter in any research center, the first thing we'll hear is that scientists are talking with numbers, ratios, metrics, data. Sorry, I didn't hear the name, but there was someone saying that the success of his success on the business meetings was that they had more numbers than words. So basically, in his meetings, one had to come up with more numbers than words. Many metrics, many structures, many numbers. It sounds very contradictory to creativity, but in fact, it is not like that. A few years ago, I was having dinner with Lynn Hayward. She is the director of the Cirque du Soleil. And she was telling me how they measure everything. Everything is absolutely structured. And that is the only way in which the creativity can take place in the Cirque du Soleil, because every trapezist that is actually risking their life in the show, they know exactly what they're doing. Have a look at 3M. 3M is one of the companies who have to have a greater creativity. They present many innovation projects to the market, and they say that always in their meeting rooms, 3 rooms are full of numbers, and the 4th one is just a window. So that's how they actually enhance their creativity. There is a book of Vern Harnish, Master in the Rockefeller Habits. What happens here is that in this very moment that we are seated here, thousands of things are happening. Thousands of things are taking place that affect us and our sector. And to illustrate that, I'm going to give you the example of Dave Carroll. He is a musician, and he had to give a concert in the United States. And he took a flight from United Airlines from Canada to United States. And one of those, during the flight, one of the technicians who was working there broke his guitar. And he actually claimed that he wanted to be refunded. And he claimed for years, for months and maybe for a year. And the airline said, well, we're not going to compensate you. I'm very sorry. We're not going to be compensated. So he said, okay, well, I am a musician. I'm going to dedicate a song to you. And they probably just laughed at him. And he did. He did a video, he hanged it on the internet, and I'll show you the video.
Fijaos que el mensaje, aparte de ser...
The message is funny, but very clear. United Airs breaks guitars. There are 4 or 5 videos of the sort. 11 million visualizations of the video. That had an impact, a huge impact. It went from YouTube to the traditional media. It was on TV. It was on the press. Everyone was talking about guitars. What did United Airlines do? What do you think? Well, they did nothing at all. Probably in United Airlines they have directors that get thousands of dollars for their posts. Now, they didn't know how to react to that at the moment. You probably know that the guitar was from the brand Taylor. And the director of Taylor, he actually came up with a video 4 hours after just after the video from the song came up, and he gave some very interesting information for all the musicians. He just said, well, you know, you can actually take your guitars in the flight if you actually get a permit for that. So everyone was talking about guitars, and Taylor came in talking about guitars. But they were not the only ones. Carlton Cases, they do guitar cases. And they did that with the name of Dave Carroll. Very good, well marketed. Now what happened with the airline is that they fell at 10% in the stock exchange market, which basically meant a loss of 51,000 guitars of Taylor, the equivalent to the cost of 51,000 guitars of Taylor. So we need to pay attention to this. We have also a book, New Rules of Marketing and Public Relations, from David Merman Scott. It's fantastic. He says we have 4 ways of getting attention: to ask for attention, to beg for attention, to impact, to force the attention, or to gain the attention. And what happened with the guitars is that they gained their attention. Scientists, when we're doing research, have to follow the sense of reality. Really, when we want to research something, we have a web page in which we published immediately our research works, because we need to be really at the top. We don't have time for our work to be published. We hang it up in the internet immediately. Our question is if our companies and organizations are following up this rhythm of actuality. We actually all know what a CAO is, but my question is, everybody knows what a CEO is, but do you have a CAO, a Chief Antenna Officer, who is out there knowing how to, finding out how to take advantage of, taking advantage of all the best technologies at the moment? It happened not very long ago with BlackBerry services. A lot of people were without access to the internet. And I don't know, maybe while that happened, maybe a hotel chain could have said, well, we can offer maybe a way of compensating that. Maybe we can offer you free internet in our rooms. And that would have led immediately to a press release that has minimal cost and an incalculated revenue. So let's see. That's an idea. Let's hope companies try or start looking for CAOs. What I want to say is that we are entering the era of lab companies. I think that competitive companies are those which are flexible to changes, and we are living many changes. We need to assume anomalies, accept them as something normal, and get advantage and benefits from them. We need to find our X factor. We need to find out how to come out of that bottleneck. We need to find our business model with metrics that will allow us a control of what's happening day to day, and to have a marketing that will support that. Having said so, thank you very much for your attention.
Muchas gracias, la doctora Sonia.
Thank you very much to Sonia. Her presentation, no doubt about it, is going to bring about a lot of interest, because today the uncertainty is everywhere facing our global situation. For this reason, this type of discourse is highly important. I would like to listen now to Mr. Luis del Olmo, and then we can go to the debate with the audience. Thank you very much.
Bien, buenos días. Yo quisiera empezar.
Good morning. I would like to start with a dream, because I think that's what we have to do, dream. And dreaming is not bad. Dreaming in the sense of traveling, like we're in a time capsule. And we could travel back in time, back to 45 years ago. We close our eyes and we travel somewhere close to where Mr. Turca lives, in Miami, a few kilometers beyond. And the name of the place is Orlando. 45 years ago, someone whose name was Walt Disney started buying land without no one knowing about it in Orlando. Thousands of hectares. No one knew what was going on with the small companies. 2 years later, after the first purchase in 1963, someone in an article said, Walt Disney is buying land in Orlando. The land that he bought were barren land. There was nothing there. Olive trees, storks. That's all. No one could dream of what Walt Disney could do with this land. In 1971, what today is one of the most theme parks, and even more, one of the most important destinations in the world, it was inaugurated. Nowadays, more than 51 million visitors go to Orlando. 4 million of those visitors are from outside the States. If Walt Disney has seen it, he couldn't see the opening of the theme park. He would be the happiest man in the world, not but the amount of money generated, but the great idea, the great vision, and the great leadership that he had in Orlando, and that we all enjoy. We all have a small, tiny little Mickey Mouse in our heart. And I made my living working there for a few years. I earned my wages in Orlando. So that's how I like to start, remembering Walt Disney and dreaming. Dreaming that our life, maybe in a small scale, we can dream. We can dream because we think it's the time to have a new context for a new project. For destination, as Mr. Gabriel Carrera says, is the origins, the cradle. And in the origins, some mistakes were made. Mistakes that are still happening now in the tourism industry. At the time, there was no regulation, there was a demand, there was economic push that helped us growth in the island. More than the 80% of the GDP of the island comes from tourism. The project I want to share with you, and it has been said already this morning, has been born in a moment of crisis, financial and economic crisis, with financial difficulties both in the private and the public spheres, and in which there's a stagnation in the process of renovating the destinations, as there are no resources to bring about renovation. We have seen as well how Magaluf moved from the 50s in a modern tourism, family-based tourism, has become in the champion of what we call balconing. A phenomenon that's a very sad phenomenon that is hit the media and the headlines all over the world. People falling off balconies. So we need to try to find a commitment with the area, but we need to show as well a commercial and economic interest. What do we do with the investments we have there? There's something which is quite remarkable. Magaluf, the area I'm talking about, is in the heart, is in the center of a very high value area. Let's have a look. We are going to the circles of activity carried out not in Magaluf, because we all know Magaluf, due to different reasons. But now let's see what happens in the surroundings, circling the Magaluf area. We have developments which are the top luxury developments of the island. Surprise, surprise. We have Pendinat, we have Sol de Mallorca, which is a few kilometers away from Magaluf. We have Santa Ponsa, we have Costa de Blanes, where villas are worth, their prices are above a million. They could be up to 8 to 10 million per project. Added to that, we have golf courses. Magaluf is surrounded by golf courses that we all know very well. Furthermore, in Magaluf, we have the best yacht marinas are, which shows the value of the destination per se. And the only one that hasn't realized this value or hasn't implemented the value is Magaluf. So something was missing in the last 50 years. But there's the beginning of something, because around it, we see how new hotels are developed. Hotels that are 5 stars or 5 and plus luxury hotels. So the area has an intrinsic touristic value that we should assess. Our project in Magaluf, and I haven't done a quantic session, but I would love to do it because I think that we would achieve the same conclusions. Our study says that the area is not integrated and is not compatible with the rest of the coastal area in which it's based. The crisis is generating a deeper problem if we miss out on the train of change. So we have to grasp on the opportunity we have facing us. This destination should be renovated and integrated in the coastal area, improving the tourism offer, turning it into a point of excellence and quality. We have to recover something that seems to be simple when we live together, but it's not, and which is the fact that the citizen, the resident, can live well together with the tourist. The moment is ripe now. There's an urgent need to change. A few weeks ago, the project was presented, both with the cooperation of the government and the mayor of Calvia. And what we have to do is pull in efforts and interest, both from the public and private sectors, as Bruce Turkett stressed in his presentation, in order to reap mutual profits, which can benefit many people. So in this both private and public commitment, we have this project that is going to change its name when Bruce gets hands-on. For the time being, the name of the project is Magaluf Melia Sol. We need to change. We have to change. The area needs new products, new services to satisfy the higher demands of the client. As Bruce said, we are accessible. Accessibility is there, and we have the price positioning. What we don't have yet is the experience to offer the experience. The goal of our project is to integrate Magaluf in its environment, reposition the destination, increase its value, and this is going to happen automatically, and open the resort to the residents, so the residents can be involved and take part in it in their daily activities, to avoid this feeling of emptiness, desert, barren land that we live in the winters in Mallorca, and which would help in lengthening the season. Where are the fields of action? Well, first we have to improve the hotels in this integrated resort that we are planning. We have to improve the development of the area, which doesn't correspond to what we want. We have to improve its beaches. The area is amazing for those who know it. And we forget the hinterland, the beach. The beach and the sea are wonderful. And if you try in summer to dive or to moor in the area, it's impossible. There are so many boats that you cannot access the area. So there's quality. It's sustainable. And it could be we could do best profit of it. So we have to regenerate the area and the surroundings, the hinterlands. We have to work on many facets of the product and the sensations we want to generate. We want to create new commercial areas and car parks as well. If we want Palma and its surroundings to come and visit the area, we want to integrate a new offer of leisure, diversified and adapted to the new demands from the client. And let's talk clearly. We have to change the use of certain hotels in the area. We have to be brave enough, change use of hotels to regenerate and to be financially viable. This is the project. Our position helps us present it because our location today means that we already have the resort, especially since we bought the Royal Beach. So we have Sol Antilla Barbados, Sol Guadalupe, Sol Jamaica, Sol Trinidad, and the Royal Beach that was recently purchased. And in the hinterland, the Sol Magaluf Park. With all these hotels, we could start the change, focusing not only in the change in the hotels, but as well in the change of living and experiencing the area. I'm not going to enter in details, because while the project is developed, we can comment on it. But we want to renovate the product, thinking on innovative, novelty products, which try to satisfy the new demand. Among them, we had crazy ideas, like having a surf center. There's only one thing missing there, is surf, breaking waves. So we are going to build a surfing center to attract young clients, or young in their hearts. I tried it. I tried surfing on one of these places. I didn't manage surfing, board surfing. Then other things like shops, restaurants, leisure areas, and the bedrooms in the hotel has to be changed, and the experience in the hotel. There's a whole change planned regarding the use of the beach. People in charge of sun decks or deck chairs on the beach, they're doing okay. There are better ways of using the beaches. If we have been, those among you that have been in Miami or in the Caribbean, there are funnier, more attractive ways of spending a few relaxing hours on the beach. And we think that we could do something similar in Magaluf. We have started partially renovating our products. What's missing yet is the integration in the surroundings. But we have to strengthen the concept of tourism segmentation and add as well business tourism, congress, seminars, meetings, active tourism, family tourism, because families do travel and need specific products, as well car parks, because it's very difficult to park in the area, and then other things like gyms, spas, wellness centers, in order to make the stay very enjoyable. As you see, the whole thing can be easily integrated in what is there, as we see in the project. This is the current view of implementation, still a lot of work ahead of us. Mainly, we need the support of the authorities, not to invest in the project, but to support us in the renovation activities. Other partners, other colleagues are supporting us. So I hope that with more support, the dream that we have can become a reality. And then, very important, we need to create pedestrian areas where tourists can enjoy their leisure time and a stroll at pleasure and relaxing in the area during the day or at night time. And, take into account as well the nightclubs and discos we have. So we shouldn't exclude the nightclub, but we should do other things, and we should create some high-quality, high-street shopping areas. And I'm sure that the traders will support our approach if they have the needed incentives. These are some of the ideas we have in mind. And some of these ideas came from other areas in which we work and where changes have already been carried out with great acceptance among the clients. So clients from different levels can come here and we offer them the experiences that they want, which currently we cannot give them. What are the critical factors of the project? There has to be agreement, consensus. This is not easy. Is the project going to give rise to critics? Of course. Common sense should rule, of course. The main thing is, what do we want? What are the commitments, the agreements, the project, and who are the main agents? But we have to react. It's urgent. We have to stop the decline in the area. Those of us who have children are not happy if our children go to spend their evenings and nights in Makalov. So we have to change that. We have to go through a process of improvement, of transformation, upgrading, as well regarding our clients, our market. And we have to do leverage of short-term, in the project short-term, with residents in the rest of the coastal areas in order to have a better shopping area. We have to have support of the public administration regarding planning and licenses, coastal management. We need as well a new face, a facelift, as Bruce said, repositioning, a new brand that fits better with the new image and the new reality we want to offer, and many other actions. Summing up, we believe in the project, and I'm convinced that the authorities do believe as well in the project, because they have done it through the Declaration of Autonomic Interest, which was presented after we presented to them the project. Final thoughts, because I think that it's time to move to the debate. Why are we doing it? Because according to us, the situation in the area, due to our presence and to our critical mass there, forces to change the destination. As a leader company and as a company that is a reference for the others, I think that we can be the pulling factor that can attract others, possible partners and investors. And it has been declared a project of autonomic interest or regional interest because that will help us move forward with investments. We need to have the commitment and the support of the public administration. What is happening now is that we are parachuting down. The area is going down very fast. It's parachuting. So urgently, we require change. We have started with some changes that will be already visible in summer 2012, though it won't be fully integrated in the area yet. That's going to be our first quick changes. As Einstein said, if you can dream it, you can do it. So I ask you to dream all together to make this dream become a reality. We, on behalf of Melia Health International, we are committed to make it true. Thank you.
Muchas gracias, Luis.
Thank you very much, Luis. It was a very interesting speech you delivered. Thank you also to Dr. Sonia. It's obvious that dreaming is a very important asset to make creativity possible. And I think that for Francesc, dreaming is something that is important for creating wine and for having the possibility of, after it has been created, well, trying them, tasting them. And would like to know, from this point of view, something that is so much related to senses, what would be your point of view? Well, good morning. I have no idea about tourism, to be honest. I'm going to explain to you that my work is not just about trying to get a good wine, but trying to be as different as possible. And how do I do that? Well, I rationalize all and each of the processes, a little bit what Dr. Sonia said here. We have a big lab. Our big lab is the vid plantations, and we look for all of the things that can make us different from our neighbor, whether for good or for bad. We need to take into account that the great wines have light defects. But those defects is what makes them different, makes them very special. So we try to find things that nobody else has. So the more we are different, the more we stand out, the harder it will be to copy us, and the more we will stand out in the market. Take into account that there are millions of wines in the world, and the fact that people might want to choose your wine among another 1,000 wines that might be behind the window of a shop. If it's not for a feature that calls their attention, whether it is the origin of the wine or the tag or the price, or really one has to look for maximizing differences. This is something that in France they have a very clear idea of. It's like the ad on cheese, Greek cheese, when they said that everybody copied their cheese. However, even if in French wine they have been copied in everything, they have remained unique in one thing, which is the soil. They have a soil that they have the climate, they have the sun, they have the rain, they have the soil, they have the vids, and they can copy everything, but they can't get the soil. So, like, for example, the Chateau Prétous can't be copied. Raymond Conti has been making wine since 300 years. And what happened? Well, Nez Romanée, which is right next to them, just to give you an example, well, maybe their wine costs 150 euros, while Romanée Conti costs 2,000 euros. Why? Because that particular winery is absolutely impossible to substitute. They have a particular soil, and in each element that they create poetry, and poetry is just as important as the wine itself. I mean, to be able to explain why that wine is fantastic and is not, and the one next door to it is not as fantastic due to several reasons, and it's been well elaborated, etc., etc. So we need to know why we are special. I have a fantastic team that understands me and puts up with me when collecting the grapes. And I work with the viticultures that might say in the end, well, maybe they're right, maybe he's right. Well, they don't actually say you're right. They say that you've been lucky, you know. It's like, okay, today we're not going to plug the land, I said one day. And, well, he then probably realized that I was crazy, because what is this guy telling me? We're not going to plug the land. We've been doing that for thousands of years. Well, I think we should not plug the land for many different reasons that I'm not going to explain now. And then my partner, who's very close to me, just as close as my girlfriend, really, he is not from the winery field. And that's a positive thing, because people who are in the field, we're always a little bit afraid, because we look at tradition and we're afraid to change things. And someone who is not within the winery, they might come up with ideas such as, well, let's call the wine 4 kilos. Well, yeah, let's call it 4 kilos because that's the amount of money that we put together. 4 million pesetas at the time. 1 million pesetas would be like equivalent to 1 kilo in slang language. And we started off in a garage, really. And then, well, we started off saying 2 to 4 kilos would be the name of the first wine. And then 12 vats. We're going to call the next wine 12 vats. Why? Because it charges your batteries. Now we're going to have one called gallinas y focas. So chicks and seals. Well, why did we call them chicks and seals? Because the chicks, they go like this, they knock with the head, and the seals, they clap. So it was very simple. Okay, well, I'm going to try and brief up. This is my vision of the world of wine. We try to look different in all ways. And as a specialist in winery said, and I'm not going to say his name, I said to him, well, I admire you very much. He said to me, I said to him, I admire you very much. And he said, why? Well, because you have a capacity of renovating and doing things in a great way. And he says, yeah, but you haven't seen all the dead bodies that are lying along my road. So it is impossible to really walk without falling. And finally, I'd like to say that I've always been in crisis. I started to study in '88 when I was 16 years old. Studying the culture of wine in Madrid. People didn't know that we had wine in Mallorca, but in Mallorca they actually extracted, they cut down all the vids through subventions, through aids, really. Everybody thought I was a bit crazy and a bit weird. They used to say, you're a little weirdo. And actually, I've always been fighting to do what I wanted to do. And for us, the people from the winery field, we've been in crisis for a long time, not just now. So coming up with something new now was not as difficult. I mean, for example, when people started having money here at the time when tourism boomed, people invested money in wineries, and really we found ourselves having many competitors. I really think that the crisis is a great time to take advantage of in order to continue. Thank you for your attention.
Es que estamos, bueno,
well, your reference to seals and hens is brilliant. We want to toast with you. Well, frankly, you have added a few ingredients which, according to me, are highly important. Something happened. There was a linear approach and it broke. And there's a part of the team that is making possible to have something coming out of your initiative. Something I would like to highlight, to link it to what Mr. Escola is going to say, is that all these dreams that are not only dreamt, but they are created as well, we need to make them known. We need to convey them to the rest of the world. So maybe, Jose, you could talk about creativity and communication. Good afternoon. Thank you very much for having invited me to be here and share a table with so many excellent speakers. I'm a cinema producer, a film producer, so I do work with dreams and imagination. But I'm here because I'm your colleague. My specialty is trying to track the shooting movies in Spain. And I'm your client as well, because in my work, I'm a consumer, obviously, large-scale consumer of your services, from the tourism industry. So I have both visions. I'm a colleague because I need to attract people here. I use the same sources of attraction that you use, and on the other hand, I use your products. So I think I'm well positioned to say a few things here and to throw to you some question marks so we can debate. That's the reason of all of us being here, debate. To start with, cinema. Cinema is used as synergy of other industries, mainly tourism in a country as Spain, but we are not doing it very well. Tourism is a priority in Spain. Spain traditionally has been a highly attractive country for movie makers for many reasons. Different spaces, different environments, and then we have a wonderful climate. Unfortunately, in the last few years, it's not God's hand anymore who's helping us. In the recent years, we have very powerful competition in other countries that are presenting themselves as plateaus or sets to shoot movies. So we have to offer something more. Our sun and our nature and our variety and diversity is not enough to attract movie makers here. No, we have to do more. We have to offer something different to the other countries that try to attract their destinations as sets for shooting movies. And we have to make the most of what the shooting brings about here. For instance, in the last year, I was lucky to come twice to Mallorca to shoot 2 movies that are going to be released very soon. Jack and Jill is one of them, and the other is Cloud Alice. And I said I have been lucky because Mallorca, for the filmmaker, is a wonderful destination because of its environment, the landscape, and mainly because it has an infrastructure that helps our industry. Our industry has it very easy here. On the other hand, we face the following. The support from the authorities and the training of our professionals is not what it should be. Saying that we offer excellent landscape, excellent environment, excellent infrastructure, but we are not sensitive to the benefits that the movie-making industry can bring to the islands. We are not attracting movie-making crews here. We are not training professionals, and we are not using the promotion tools that the cinema can give. For instance, in 1993, we shot The Kingdom of Heaven by Ridley Scott in different points of Spain. But for instance, we shot scenes in Huesca, in the Loarre Castle in Huesca. I don't know whether you have ever been there. The castle of Loarre is one of the best preserved castles in Europe, and is placed in in the middle of an amazing landscape. No one knew the castle. It was unknown in Spain and in Europe. Thanks to the movie, The Kingdom of Heaven, the visits while we were there and months afterwards increased in 1,000%. And when the movie was released and up to date, the level of visitors has been constant or even increasing. There has been an increase of 250% of visitors. However, no public entity nor any entity of the industry or anyone has used the movie to do promotion or to show the land through the movie. This is a serious mistake. Another example, in Seville, only 2 years ago, we shot Night and Day with Tom Cruise. Exactly the same happened. The movie, according to the latest data, has had 3 million impacts, 3 million viewers, both on screen theaters, in movie theaters, or DVDs and home DVD, or in open TV channels. 300 million viewers. We haven't complemented that with a tourism promotion campaign, explaining what Spain is all about. we still have a very bad habit. Spain, we think that Spain is sun and sand, when Spain offers much more, and through the cinema, through the movies and films, we could show all these many other things that we have, which is amazing. That's all. These are just few comments. These are details that come from my experience to give my small contribution to the debate. Thank you.